Good morning and welcome to the VetJobs Salute to Industry Series Volume 2 for Crane Industry. My name is Sandy Artman and I am an Army veteran of 30 years. I'm joined today by Mark Greiger of Crane Industries. Mark was a Marine Corps veteran for about 4 to 5 years. In the 1980s, he was an F-4 Phantom electrician, if I got that correct, Mark.
That's correct.
And then he went back home to Omaha, Nebraska. And Mark, I have a question for you later on during the video, but just so you know, and I don't forget, I'm curious about the phone call you got that led you to Crane. But so anyway, I'm joined by Mark today of Crane Industries. And Mark, you were, fun fact about you, the 6th employee, and there was no interview?
Oh, no, 26th.
26th, sorry.
Yes. But yes, it was kind of hard finding people to do this job back then. The founder of the company, his son played baseball, so most of the early employees were baseball players.
Wow. To think of a time in our history when there was no interview, just a phone call. Hey, do you know how to do this? Yeah, certainly. So welcome to the team, right?
Pretty much. He said, "Do you remember how to operate an oscilloscope?" And I said, "I suppose so. Why?" He said, "How would you like to move to Atlanta and test MOVs for a living?" And I said, "That sounds like fun, but what's an MOV?"
Well, we'll get to that. So, Mark,
All right.
I have a few questions for you.
All right.
Just want to learn more about you and more about Crane and the opportunities at Crane and what a potential veteran or spouse candidate might expect with Crane and the interview and application process. So we touched on your interesting career, your 4 years in the Marine Corps. And this mysterious phone call out of the blue, what led you to Crane?
One of my buddies from the squadron I was in, he was an electrician as well. He was from here near Atlanta locally, and he had answered an ad in a newspaper, and he just fell right in and thought maybe I'd do a good fit too. And so far, it's worked out. It's been about 38 years.
So power to the network. One of your buddies from the Corps referred you, correct?
That's right.
Wow. And you had stayed in touch when you were in Omaha, Nebraska. He was in Atlanta, I guess.
Correct.
And he just thought of you. I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement in itself. Interesting.
It changed my life, that's for certain.
Tell me about some of the roles in the company, and the locations, the benefits. I mean, we've talked with another gentleman with Crane, but the line of work you do with Crane, what can you tell me about some of those roles and the benefits?
Well, I do a lot of training. I do a lot of customer training. So we'll get like a nuclear power plant that has a group of electricians or engineers or mechanics that need to be trained and qualified either on mechanical work or diagnostics of motor operated valves. So a lot of times they'll come here to Kennesaw, Georgia, or I'll travel to wherever their plant is. And sometimes that's pretty interesting. I went to Slovakia one time and had a translator for every single word I said. She was very good, but she was more conversational than technical, so it got a little tricky from time to time. But yeah, I've traveled all over the world, literally, more so with Crane than I ever did with the Marine Corps.
So you're in the training department, so you train other employees from other companies?
Well, yes, I'm in the operations department, but that includes training. Okay, so the way the nuclear power industry works is the nuclear plants are operational during the summer and the winter for heating and cooling, and then they're typically shut down in the spring and the fall for refueling. So we're really busy in the spring and the fall, but I do a lot of training in the summer and in the winter.
Okay. And that's because of energy demand, right? They can't shut down during the high volume times, which would be summer and winter.
Exactly.
Okay. You got to kind of think about that. It's not apparently totally clear to the average,
I get
average human being.
Right.
This Army guy, it took me a moment to realize this during the other salute to industry I was doing. It took me a moment. What? Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. So, okay. So why does Crane want to hire military veterans and spouses? And what does the ideal candidate look like? I mean, you got a phone call, obviously back in the 80s when times were different. And, do you remember an oscilloscope? And you're like, no, but I can learn. And, they were willing to take you. So, but, fast forward, this is 2023. Companies are different. HR departments are different. So, why does Crane want military veterans and spouses? And what does the ideal candidate look like now in 2023?
Well, there's a certain amount of physical fitness required because there's climbing around and scaffolding and whatnot in the power plants. But also, as a general rule, I'd say that military people are trainable, and that's the bottom line. They're easily trainable. And to be honest with you, most of the military people that we have hired over the years have stayed with us. It's a lot of people. They bounce around from place to place, but I could give you a handful of people here that have been here for 20 or 30 years that are military.
Wow. So Crane's a good company, you're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first started, it was a private company, and we've been sold a couple of times, but Crane's had us for better than 20 years now.
Okay. And you're in Kennesaw, Georgia. That's northwest of Atlanta, is it?
That's
not?
Correct. Yep.
Along I-75.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, do you have a big campus there in Kennesaw, or is it a small campus?
It's a pretty good sized building. We have several training classrooms downstairs. We have a manufacturing facility where they manufacture test equipment. They do calibration. We sell test equipment to nuclear plants, and it has to come back here for calibration annually. So the calibration people downstairs are usually very busy. We've got an engineering department, software department, of course, accounting.
Yeah. So what can a candidate expect in the application and interview process from Crane? I mean, are they interviewing with you? Are they interviewing with HR only? And then to you or someone else? And, if you're looking for a new candidate, are you looking for somebody with a certain type of experience now? Remember, you didn't have it. Of course, it was 1980-ish. And nowadays it's 2023. So are you looking for oscilloscope experience, or are you looking
for oscilloscopes have gone the way of the dinosaurs and the F4s for that matter?
Right.
But actually, most of the people that we do hire have a good sound electrical or mechanical background. That's a good basis. Okay. Yeah. We do, as I mentioned, motor-operated valves, but we also do air-operated valves and check valves. That's the basis of our core. Okay.
And so, again, back to the process. Does the candidate interview with HR and then to the hiring manager? What's that kind of look like for candidates?
Well, as I kind of mentioned, it's so long ago that I really didn't go through an interview process. So to be honest with you, I really don't know. I know they interview with HR, that's for certain, and I suspect they would interview with the operations manager or whatever manager they would be working for, whether it be operations or engineering or what have you.
All right, fair enough. What are some of the activities and events that Crane supports? I mean, local, national, some corporate citizenship type things. Does Crane support anything? Or
Richard Teller Crane was a philanthropist. He put some money aside, and it's grown over the years. He was, I think, 23 years old during the Civil War when he started the company. And of course, when I was 23 years old, I was just wondering where the next beer was coming from. So a little bit different there, but anyway, he was quite the philanthropist, and there's still a huge fund, and every year we donate an enormous amount of money to, women's shelters or it varies from time to time. I'm usually in the field, so I miss a lot of the presentations, but sure. Crane also encourages public service. We have people just a few weeks ago that went out and did some work at Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park to to do some work creating new horse riding trails.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we've also had people go downtown and help plant gardens or maintain gardens. Additionally, dog walking for a animal shelter nearby. I mean, they're very very
Involved.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. So, one last question, and maybe a couple more as we go through because we've gone pretty quick here. Um, from your foxhole, what is the future of Crane? What do you see as growth and expansion or maintaining what Crane does? I mean, you mentioned that the nuclear facilities around the world send you their tools for recalibration. So obviously Crane has a lock on, you're certified for calibrating test equipment and other things. So that's pretty niche, if you will.
Right.
So what can you say about Crane's future in this business?
Well, we also provide a lot of services. So as long as there's nuclear power plants, we're going to stay busy.
Okay.
There's a very limited number of people that do what we do. And the U.S. is still building nuclear power plants. There's 2 new ones in Georgia, near Augusta, Georgia. So if they come on successfully, hopefully we'll be building more nuclear plants. But the rest of the world is building nuclear plants too.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. So we get.
And so Crane, so I'm a veteran, and I'm thinking, hey, I'd like to work for Crane. So,
we're always hiring.
No, but so what does that look like for me? What can I expect? Am I going to travel to other countries
Potentially, certainly, yeah,
for X period of time? How does that? Can you map that out?
Well, what we do is we'll take a person and we'll give them basically a nuts and bolts, a limit torque actuator class, just teaching them how the motor operated valves work, and then we might send them out for an outage or two. And if they show the aptitude, they'll come back for another class, a diagnostic class. And then they go out and learn how to test motor operated valves. And then the final step is to have an advanced class, and then they'll be qualified to test them by themselves instead of working with someone else. But the travel, I mean, my gosh, I've been all over Europe, I'm in Brazil, South Africa, Canada, Mexico, China, Taiwan.
A month, 2 months at a time? How's that look?
The refueling outages, they're actually getting shorter and shorter as time goes on because the utilities want to keep their plants shut down for a shorter amount of time. So when I started, a refueling outage was usually a month and a half or 2 months. But now they're trying to get them down to 3 weeks to a month.
Whoa, so 3 weeks to a month. So you're really pouring more manpower into it because, it's the same. The volume of work hasn't changed, I would imagine.
That's true.
They're wanting to get it done quicker. So it's probably 24-hour ops?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We work a day shift and a night shift. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission mandates that we take 1 shift off per week. So it's good that there's a Walmart near most nuclear plants to give you something to do on your night off.
Yeah. Okay. And so obviously, do you get per diem when you go to Brazil or Slovenia or? They put you up in a hotel. What's that look like?
Well, they'll give us a per diem, and we can choose whether we stay in a hotel or. A lot of times when I go to Slovenia, I like to get an apartment, and live with the local people. Of course, I've been there quite a few times, so I'm very comfortable over there. But if I go to say Sweden or someplace in Taiwan or China, it'd probably be a hotel.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting. And Crane covers that cost?
Oh, yes. Travel costs. We went to Abu Dhabi just a couple of weeks or a couple of years ago to do some training, and we've got more work there, and we had a group there this spring. Yep. So
wow.
The travel, I mean, they just places where they build a nuclear plant, isn't?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. So, and then you come back, and do you immediately go on another job? Do you take a knee? Do you go to training? What happens when you come back after an outage?
Sometimes you'd like to take a knee for a day or two, but sometimes, I mean, it just varies. It just really varies. Teaching training classes is pretty much a canned thing. You fly out on a Sunday and you hopefully fly back on a Friday evening or maybe the Saturday morning. But you can get those back to back to back from time to time. But usually the outages, there's some sort of a break between outages. But again, it varies. It just depends on when the contracts are, when the outages are scheduled. It's pretty much out of our control. It's just
Okay. All
yeah.
right. What kind of benefits does Crane have for an employee?
Oh, very good benefits, dental and health and vision and everything. It's I can't complain at all. My wife, she's a little older than me, and she recently went on Medicare, and it's almost flawless. I mean, just seamless to roll right over. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And what does she think about all your travel? I mean, obviously, hey, I'm a veteran, and I want to, Crane's going to take me away from my family.
Well,
Is
there's
it
there's good and there's
50%
bad,
of
of
the
course.
time? What's
First of
that?
all, my wife loves to travel, so
Oh, okay.
I've taken her to China, to Brazil,
Oh,
South
wow. You take her
Africa,
with you.
all over Europe. Yeah. So it there's that. That's good, but she doesn't always travel with me. So
Okay.
sometimes it gets a little old after a while. And of course, you get tired of staying in a hotel, but the
Yeah, there is
benefits are
that.
certainly worth
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Um, is there anything you'd like to add about Crane or about to the veteran population, why they should choose Crane or why they should look at Crane for
Well,
the
to be
future?
honest, I think we've covered as much as I can think of. I mean, it's a
Okay.
great place to work. Of course, I've been here for 40 years, so I don't know what the other places are like. They say the grass
Yeah,
is greener, but this is pretty green right here. I'm
I'm
not I'm
still
not going
fascinated
anywhere
by the
until they
phone
kick me
call.
out. Pardon?
The network from your buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you think back to the '80s, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have internet, so you two kept in touch,
Yep.
and it was either via snail mail or via Ma Bell,
Yeah. Yeah.
collect
The old
call.
dial phones. Yep.
Yeah. So that's fascinating, and that's a great story. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, I feel lucky. I'll say that I'm blessed that I mean I wasn't looking for a job. It just fell in my lap, and I've had a great career here, and I'm probably about 5, 7 years away from retiring, I suppose. So we do need some new blood, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, nice, nice. And do you participate in any recruitment events, or do you personally, or do you know of some other people at Crane that do? Does Crane go anywhere specifically to recruit?
I have actually. Suzanne Young, she's one of our recruiters. She asked me
Yeah.
to go with her over to Chattahoochee Technical College, I think it is.
Okay.
And I took an actuator over there and I did a little presentation. And they were mechanical engineers, and they were kind of bored with the presentation. But when I actually fired up the actuator, that's when they got their attention. They like to see the gears turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. How about military events? Say for
No,
example,
I
Kings
haven't been to
Bay
any
or
military events. No.
yeah, yeah.
But again, I'm on the road a lot, so I'm not
True.
I'm not
True.
often available. They'll take somebody out of operations to go do something, but I'm
Okay.
seldom here actually. In fact, I've been teaching for about the last 9 weeks in a row that I'm
Wow.
available. Yeah, and then I got 2 weeks where I'm not teaching, and then we start back again in August, and it'll be busy again for the rest of the summer.
Now, when you train or teach, is that a full 8 hours a day? What does that look
Yes, yeah, 8-hour days.
like?
Most of our
Classroom?
most of our classes are 5 days. We have the advanced class is a 4-day class.
Are they all like standard classroom or are they lab?
Both,
Touchy
definitely,
feely with the valves.
absolutely both. Yeah, lots of hands-on, particularly for the first week with the we're disassembling and reassembling the components. But then the second week we're doing diagnostics, so we're putting the test equipment on the actuator, collecting data, doing analysis. It's just like you're in the field.
Great, great. Well, that's awesome. Well, Mark, hey, I really appreciate your time this morning, and I really appreciate what Crane is doing, not only for the civilian populace, but for the veteran populace as well. You have a very niche part in our economy, and I was very enlightened by learning about Crane Nuclear about a year ago, and the conversations we've had since that time. So Mark, I appreciate your time. If you don't have anything else, I think that completes our little Salute to Industry video today.
Well, thank you, Sandy. I appreciate your time, and I'll throw a Semper Fi in there.
There you go. Well, I Army, so hua,
Fair enough.
that was kind of a weak hua, but it's all right. It's all good. Thanks,
All right,
Mark.
take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.